This year I've been learning a lot to trust in God and not rely so heavily on my own abilities.
To be more present and to not be constantly wishing circumstances were different, but being able to foster hope and really invest in where I'm at and be willing to be open to being used by God in the specific situation that He's got me in.
He's broken down all of the barriers and excuses that we used to have between spending time with Him, things like being busy and friends and events, things that had become like idols in our life.
God has been at work, both in my relationship with Him and my relationship with myself.
Because of COVID and the challenges that has presented for my business, it's been very tempting to get really anxious about it and have that consume me.
We really took time to draw on Him for our strength and our hope, and that's been really great for our relationship with Him.
Being able to just release those anxieties onto God has been something that's been really freeing for me.
I was able to spend more intentional time with God, and He has been ministering to me, affirming me, challenging me, and assuring me of His acceptance.
And just realising how to fully rest in Him and enjoy His presence and enjoy prayer with Him and enjoy His word.
Well, hello church. 2020, quite a year. As I prepared for this reflection, I'm just left with such a sense of thanksgiving. Thank you to the many people who continue to contribute within our church community and with whom it's been a privilege to lead as chair of the diaconate over the last 12 months. To the ministry team for guiding this church through uncertain and strange times, to make the right choices at the right times, to be quick and to be responsive to the needs of our community, and particularly Nicholas in leadership of that team. My thanks to my colleagues on the leadership team for your effort, your patience and grace through many processes of discernment, deliberation and leadership over the last 12 months. I feel very blessed to have you as colleagues in that group, and I've been blessed by you and by your behaviour as you've modelled it in your service. And how exciting. Welcome to our new leadership team members who are up for election tonight. To the church, just finally, for your faithful giving and connection, particularly, I guess, giving financially and making sure that we have a financially stable position as a church during times when many lost incomes, many were uncertain of their employability or employment into the future. Thank you for being steadfast in your contribution to the work of this church, both locally and far away. But also just getting over the Zoom fatigue, making sure that you stay connected, that you stay engaged, and as a result that Christ is revealed to all of us through that process of fellowship and being able to get together. So thank you, church. Thank you for the honour of being able to lead the diaconate and to represent you. Thank you for supporting us in prayer and in word and in action. And let's look forward to a brighter 2021 together.
Hello church, my name is Michael. I thank God for you and the privilege to serve Q as treasurer. It's been a tough year due to the pandemic. The lockdown has impacted many people through the loss of work, homeschooling, not being able to visit loved ones, and adjusting to worship online. It is wonderful though to see the faith and deeds of our community through financial commitment and serving God and one another. While there is uncertainty to when we can go back to some normality, the path forward is looking positive. So take heart, because God is delivering His promise that He will never leave us. Thank you for your support and contribution in 2020, and God bless you.
Good evening, church. It's ASHRAY here. I'm the church secretary, and I'm really excited to be with you all. I think that it's been a difficult year for a lot of us in different ways, but there's a lot to look forward to as well. I'm really pleased to see new nominees for membership, for stepping up to the leadership team, and people in our congregation who are preparing for baptism. There's so much to be encouraged by, and most of all by the promises of God, by His comfort and care for us, and by the hope we have that we'll be physically together as we are currently spiritually together still, and that's not far away.
Hi friends at Q Baptist Church. It's been a long time since we've been able to meet together, And I'm certainly looking forward to that time when we'll be able to have some in-person services. And I guess with limits on numbers, it'll take a little while before we can meet up with everybody again. But certainly as we round out the end of 2020 and move into 2021, we pray, God willing, that we'll just have that opportunity to encourage and support each other more personally. Been able to do a few little things in the property that I've mentioned in the report. Just glad that you could join this meeting, and we pray that together as a church we will just continue to grow and support each other and allow God to do new things in us, even in a very, very hard time. I want to thank God particularly for the leadership of Pastor Nick. It's so great, and I know that he's and Amanda are very tired this end of the year, but we just want to thank them for all that they've done and for the way that we've been blessed through their ministry, and we pray the Lord will bless them. So greetings to you all, and God bless.
Hello, church. So just sharing some highlights from 2020 with you today. One big project for me was the new church website. It was an opportunity to bring some fresh eyes to our web presence, as it hadn't really had much love over the last few years. And obviously with our move to online services and everything being much more digital this year, it's been a key communication tool to those just beyond our Kew Baptist Church community. So started that project in April this year, and it was finally launched in October. Thanks to Tom Black for finalising last bits of content for me so we could get that live. Also have been acting Child Safety Officer for 2020. Hasn't required a lot of face-to-face interaction this year, but as we move into 2021 and in-person gatherings restart, this will become increasingly important again. Just want to say, if anyone has a passion for children and young people and feel that this is something that you might like to take on in the coming year, please speak to me. It's a really important role in terms of safeguarding for our children and from a compliance perspective. But it's not laborious. But yes, if that's something that you feel like you could bring to our church, that would be brilliant to chat to you about. Lastly, it's been great to be able to attend the RES meetings again this year as my kind of role as liaison between the leadership team and the RES, and just to listen and observe those gatherings in what has been a really difficult year for everybody, but it's been great to see how the committee have navigated through those challenges, and thanks to Peter Todd and the broader committee for your energy and your faithfulness to that ministry, and obviously to Mark Gellie, Sarah Pamphlet and Amy Gellie obviously for your stewardship of that ministry as well. It's been great to take part.
I oversee the tech team. I'm the brand ambassador.
Why am I here? I fixed Tim's problems.
Hello, my name's Tim, and I oversee the tech team.
Hi, I'm Tom, and I am the intern here who's been helping with tech.
Hi, I'm Luke, and I try and just fix tech problems as they come up.
I take the credit for it.
So, Tim, you're the head of the tech ministry, and you have played a really important role this year. Can you give us a bit of an update on what that's looked like for everyone?
I mean, where do you start sort of thing? If you take it from the beginning of the year, it was just more of a supportive role for the in-house services, and then in a manner of, what was it, a couple of days, we become the very existence of why a church meets. It's a surreal experience. No, seriously, it is a genuinely surreal experience to realize that you kind of have to rethink from scratch how you do church, which is a good exercise in and of itself, to kind of think about, how do we meet? Why do we meet? What does it mean to fellowship? What does it mean to celebrate? And I say that because we live streamed a wedding near the start of the year. What does it mean to be connected, to be a family during a time of crisis? So it hasn't just been in terms of trying to technologically connect people. There's that sort of personal sort of level as well, which is the reason why we do it.
Luke, you've actually played a pretty essential role as well in keeping the tech team, helping implement things and keeping us going. How has serving on the tech team this year in a really meaningful way influenced your relationship with God and your involvement at Q?
I think it's really just like giving me another way to serve. I've been on the music team before, and I really enjoy serving there. But during this time, I was just being able, serving every week. And it also meant that in those weeks that I wasn't serving and giving for God, I was able to really sit back and just enjoy the services and really take in what was being given to us through Nick and the ministry team.
Like I said at the start, I'm the brand ambassador. Yeah, I guess being an intern this year was different to what I expected. It's been a real privilege and been really enjoyable to work alongside you guys in the tech team. But one thing that stood out to me has just been the importance of us as Christians sharing our gifts and sharing our abilities and sharing our talents. And this year has really highlighted those guys who are gifted in tech and gifted in videography and audio. And it's just been really exciting to see how new people have been invited into participating in the church family in a really important way.
We felt so blessed to be a part of QVAPS this year.
One thing that I've found valuable about being a part of QVAPS this year is how easy it's been to remain connected despite what's been going on.
I've seen very little of my own children and grandchildren, mostly noticeable around my 80th birthday. However, the Q Church family totally made up for this in the loving greetings, flowers, messages and cards, which were truly a blessing and delight.
The different platforms that Q's provided I've really appreciated, and appreciated how intentional I've been about this, whether that's church or small groups, young adults nights or men's prayer, things like that.
Being in our first year of marriage, it's not always easy being in lockdown, but we've had things like the Young Marrieds group and our small group and other married couples around to support and encourage us, and has made us feel like we're part of something bigger and really connected.
Just growing and maturing in leadership, being able to lead a small group and also lead some discussions on Sunday have been really helpful for me, and even just going over the content before in preparation has really helped me to learn the material in a deeper way and also help grow my relationship with God.
The tireless work of the ministry team through the months has been a lifeline.
Yeah, and the leadership team has done a really good job of making sure everyone is still connected and have this sense of community still, even though we're all online.
Even if sometimes our first thought about getting back online is kind of it's been super encouraging for me.
Hello everyone. Last Sunday, Nick began and finished with a quote by the poet Mary Oliver. "What will you do with your one wild and precious life?" Well, maybe we could change it slightly and say, what have we done in this one wild and chaotic year? Firstly, I think I need to be upfront and say that the last few years have been difficult for me, looking out for my dear parents, then both of them dying last year. Then our sweet dog Darcy, whose friendship and love we enjoyed for 12 years, died this year. The grief of all of this experienced in lockdown has been profound for me, and with no real support from the outside, it has been challenging to say the least. But I have endeavoured to care for some of our congregation as best I can. Two things stand out for me. Leading Alpha with Nick via Zoom each Wednesday night has been a rich experience. Hearing people's hearts and stories has been a real privilege. I really believe strongly in individual discipleship. It is vital we know our Jesus and not spend years in church just knowing about him. So I've been privileged this year to study the Bible and to pray for and with two precious young women via Zoom who I have been leading for 2 or 3 years now. I've also begun meeting with another lovely young woman via Zoom where we explore the Bible and pray together. My heart is to pray for the individual, so I have loved getting to know these daughters of God. I would like to have the opportunity to disciple more individuals next year. This is gold for me. I have a dream that next year we will see a fire of love in people's hearts for Jesus, and that the prayer life of our community will go from strength to strength, that we will learn to pray with power and with passion. And I would love to be at the forefront of this. So God bless you all, and I really hope and pray I will see you very soon.
Hi church. Despite all the challenges of 2020, I find that we still have so much to celebrate and be thankful for in the life of our church this year. For one thing, it has been an incredible year for our small group ministry. A few quick stats. For our young adults, we started the year with 8 small groups, but then after running hub nights back in March, this quickly grew to 13 groups, and we recruited almost a dozen new leaders in the space of about a month to meet that growing need, which was such an amazing provision. And then all up across the church, we've had about 140 people who have been regular and active participants in small groups this year. I have been so encouraged by the quality and commitment of our small group leaders across the church, and also by the spiritual growth and fellowship and pastoral care that has been taking place within these groups. On the worship and creative arts side of things, it has been a big year of innovation as we essentially move to being an online church. Music teams, unfortunately, have had to be quite small due to restrictions, but I'm so thankful for our worship leaders who have adapted really well to the changing formats and have continued to lead us faithfully each week. It's also been amazing to see huge developments across our tech team and graphic design and social media teams as we have dramatically increased and refined our online digital presence, from live streaming services and high production video sermons to a thriving Instagram account and a newly launched website. Looking ahead to next year, my main creative project for 2021 is making this tiny human. So obviously I'll be taking a bit of time off. So while I can't speak into my ministry areas in a big way for 2021, I'm still so excited for the year ahead. I'm really thankful to be a part of this wonderful church community, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what God will continue to do among us as Kew Baptist Church in the new year.
Hi church. It has been a pleasure to be able to lead our Generations Ministries this year. Although we have faced many challenges this year, I'm so grateful to God that our children, our families, youth and young adults have still been able to connect in with their church family. They've been able to connect in with God, and they've been able to continue to grow in their faith. This year we've seen our Kew Kids take on many forms, whether that has been a separate Zoom session altogether on a Sunday morning or as a part of our kids' talks in the 10 a.m. service. We've had a few fun Zoom parties along the way, and at times we've even been able to meet at a park or a playground when restrictions have allowed it. We've also seen our youth continue to connect in with Jeremy, Julia and Calvin, our amazing leaders, and they've done lots of things over various video platforms, but more recently, they've been working through the book of Mark on a Saturday afternoon, and I'm so encouraged that they are there studying the Gospels together. Our young adults have also been involved in many different things across the life of our church. We've seen them at church, obviously, on a Sunday. They're in small groups, and they've been involved in various young adult events that we've run this year. We've had hub nights, which went for 6 weeks. We had Jesus the Game Changer, which was another 6-week series, and both of these events really engaged about 80 to 100 young adults each night, which was an incredible effort. We've had a couple of pop-up events and our 4-week faith reboot, which was a great challenge for us all. I've also loved being involved with Mark, my husband, and Peter and Marion Todd in running a young marrieds group. This has had 12 young married couples meet every 3 weeks on Zoom, and we're going through the marriage course. I've also been able to meet with 4 of our engaged couples, and together we have gone through the pre-marriage course, another great course out of the Alpha Church. So there's been many things that have been happening, even in a tough season. I'm so looking forward to being able to meet all together in person. I'd love to see what our church can do to further connect with our community, particularly in the space of families, looking at things like mainly music or a parenting course, or perhaps even how we can use our hybrid commons space. I'm excited to hopefully get down to church family camp at Anglesea next year. But 2020 definitely has been a great year for our generational ministries, so thank you to everyone who's been involved along the way.
I'm Mark and I manage the Q student residence with my wife Amy, and a report on 2020. What a year it's been at the student residence this year. Not what we expected when we started the year in February. Full 50 students, high anticipation and excitement. 4 weeks in, the end of March, we unfortunately, with the first stages of lockdown, we encouraged our students to head home as uni was all online. We were expecting maybe a few months at the latest that they would be back, but unfortunately they haven't been around all year, which has been a challenge. But in the midst of that, there's been some great stuff that has happened, and we're really thankful for our amazing support staff who have done a phenomenal job of just keeping our students connected through a number of online things that we've been able to do, small groups, and so many things as well that the church has been able to do through young adults and our Sunday services. So lots of positives with that. Also, the student residence has been able to be used. Our kitchen has been a great source of encouragement and a partnership with the Burundara Community Outreach Program. So we've been able to cook over 4,000 meals. So food is donated regularly every week through the Burundara Community Outreach, and Ben Perkins, one of our ex-students, has volunteered his time and has done a phenomenal job just being able to cook and get those meals out to those in the community, which is great. So we're looking forward to next year. Student residents of 50 students, and our support staff will be active again in that role. So we just wanted to also acknowledge the leadership team of the church, but also the Res Committee and the fantastic job that they do in supporting Amy and I and our support staff in this amazing ministry of the Q student residence.
Hello Q Baptist Church, and thanks for tuning into this first ever video annual report. 2020 has changed our world and our lives, and we'll never forget it as much as we might like to. I wrote in a church letter earlier this year, there's much loss and devastation, so much trauma and grief for individuals, but also the whole nation. That was in January, and I was referring to the catastrophic bushfires which devastated the nation. Just think about that. We were dealing with that crisis when a global pandemic shut down our world, killed many, and disrupted our lives and our church and community. But from my vantage point, I've seen our church rally together and continue to do God's work in courageous, faithful, and caring ways. There are many who've shown great love and concern to keep connected and support our mission and ministry as a church community. To all of you, thank you for helping to make KBC a place of welcome, refuge, truth, and love. I appreciate and value you very much. It's only back in February that we farewelled, sadly, Paul and Anita Pallett and started with a whole new team for 2020. I'm really grateful to the ministry team and thank Lauren, Amy and Mark and Amanda for their devotion and dedication to God and this church community, and for their exemplary pastoral leadership and service in their respective areas of ministry during a very challenging year. And what a year for Benji to come on as interim administrator, but he's been a great help and he's done a brilliant job serving the church community. And it was timely that when a generous member gave a gift to support the position of a ministry intern, we were able to put on Tom Black, and he's been such an asset and valuable member of the team. And our leadership team of ASHRAY, David C, David A, Hannah, Michael, all whom have families and jobs and pressures in their own lives, have served sacrificially and with great character and wisdom. I've valued their support, their friendship and their leadership this year. There's much to mourn and grieve in 2020, but we can celebrate and be thankful for the way our church community has come together, supported one another, and continued with Christ's mission. Let's continue to pray, give, serve, love, and draw grace and power from God by His Spirit to live in a way that builds bridges, enhances peace, promotes forgiveness and reconciliation, welcomes all, and works to see His kingdom come. Let's cultivate hope, create with God a welcoming and loving community, grow spiritually more like Jesus, give generously, go out into the world with the love and good news of Jesus. And by God's grace on our church, we have continued his work in 2020 and can look forward with hope to what God will do among us and through us together as a church family in 2021. Love and blessings to each and every one of you. Bye for now.